Hi, everyone. I am lucky to be here with Rose Chambers, and she's the lower school principal at the Stamford American School in Hong Kong. And so Rose and I have known each other for quite a while. And I've actually been in Hong Kong several times, I think twice. Actually, in the past 2 years, I've been at your school. Is that right, Rose?
You've been here more, actually. You've been here every year. We're in our third year, so I think you've been here 4 times.
Oh, as if wow, that's quite a bit. So, as many of you are probably going through this right now, there's a bit of a change. There's quite a bit, huge change right now in education. Many schools right now are not actually having, would say, the traditional school setting. We're more in, I would say, virtual learning, distance learning. And Rose, your school has gone through a lot this year. You went through a tumultuous time in the beginning of the academic year, and then and then kind of go back to January. In January, the virus is around, China, mainland China, and you're in Hong Kong, and then you get word that your school has to shut down. The physical space has to shut down. Can you share with us, what were you thinking, and really, what were you feeling as an administrator of your building?
Yeah, so we got, just before Chinese New Year break, we heard about the virus in mainland China. And so we discussed it on the Friday before break, but it didn't seem, like it was a thing that was going to happen so quickly. But basically a few days into Chinese New Year break, which was a week, we got news from the Education Bureau and saying schools would be shut. So it wasn't a complete surprise. Hong Kong went through SARS, as you know, so the Hong Kong government acted really quickly and took it very seriously. So it wasn't a complete surprise, but of course, I mean, you're stressed. You're really stressed. You're anxious. There's so many unknowns. On the one hand, there's this virus that you don't know much about. And then on the other hand, you've got to set and learn. So for as an administrator, as a leader, you had to kind of put aside the fears so much about the virus and just get to work on how we're going to support our kids. Mm-hmm. And how we're going to support our teachers too, because the teachers need to build this incredible online learning experience for the kids, but they're also going through all these feelings as well. So that initially that was how we were feeling. We did have to close school for a couple of days due to the political situation here. And so we did have some experience with online learning. Not to this extent, of course, 9 weeks in. But so we did feel comfortable with the tech part. So there was a part of us that was like, this is an opportunity.
Cool. And so I'm assuming, as I touch my face, wonderful here, I had that conversation earlier, I'm assuming a lot of your teachers, even though, like you said, they had that experience with SARS and other closures in your academic year, there is probably a deep sense of worry, fear, uncertainty. And as a school leader, how do you approach that? How do you deal with like that community of teachers who are like, now what? How do we deal with this?
Yeah, so we just really made ourselves available for staff to talk to and to voice their concerns. And we also worked on the back end about what can we do for our teachers. Because back then it was a China problem. The world wasn't seeing it as anything else but a China problem. We felt like it was an us problem as well. And there was nothing that came before it for us to learn from. Mm-hmm. So there was this fear of, well, yes, there's the virus, but the bigger fear was what if I get stuck in Hong Kong? What if I can't get out? And as an international school, most of your faculty is coming from abroad. So they're getting pressure from family saying, I want you home, come home now. Mm-hmm. And they're having concerns of their own, like, well, what if Hong Kong gets shut down and I can't leave? And then we saw that happen, of course, around the world. So we're all in the same boat now, but back then it was just us. So, we did have to consider the needs of our teachers. And when flights started being disrupted, being flexible with that. So we were very quick to implement working from home it wasn't a guideline from the government, but it is something that we put in place for the comfort of our teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And some teachers did decide to leave the country and work
Mm-hmm.
from abroad, but they're all back now.
Wow. Now,
Because once it went everywhere,
yeah.
it was actually better to be back here.
And how do you think your parents felt about this, the closures, and how do you think they dealt with that initially, especially in January, where it was, you didn't know how long it was going to last, and it's still going on, obviously. But how do you think that what was the feeling in your community?
Same as us, stressed and anxious. A lot of families, again, they left or they didn't come back from their Chinese New Year breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot, some parents were very stressed because they still had to go to work, and then their children were at home, and so they felt a lot of unknowns with that. And then some parents, of course, were like, well, how do I take on this role of teacher at home? And so we really had to spend the first few weeks helping parents understand the tech of it. Because
Mm-hmm.
although some of the students knew it, the parents didn't know it, right? Where do I find the information? Where do I find the learning? How do I cope? And so we did a lot of webinars with our parents. Our counselors led some webinars. Our tech department led some webinars just on like, how do you set up your child for success at learning at home? How can you support them? And they were just really, really stressed balancing everything.
Totally understandable.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a crazy time in our lives right now. So that kind of like jump towards now. It's April 1st here in North America, April 2nd there in Asia.
Yeah.
How do you feel now? How do you feel as an administrator? So it's been 9 weeks, if I'm correct, right? It's been 9 weeks of this.
9 weeks, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. How do you feel now about everything?
Good.
Yeah.
I would say, you definitely can reflect upon this. I would say, because China was still on their Chinese New Year break, we've been longer than even mainland China. So reflecting on things back then to now, I feel much, much better about things. Definitely there's a feeling in the community for us that we're all in this together.
Okay.
As a school, and as for Hong Kong,
Yeah.
we're all in this together. But now you see it around the world as well, which is helpful because we can feel supported by educators across the world, right? And we can help support others now. We can say we've been there.
So I'm gonna go back to that. You feel good right now. Where in the 9 weeks do you think the change happened? In other words, what changed your worry to like uncertainty to like, oh my gosh, frustration to I'm okay with this? Like, was there something that happened? Either you did yourself, or was there something in your community that may have changed that feeling of fear to kind of acceptance, I guess?
Yeah, I think, well, our teachers have been explaining it like this, and I think it's perfect. It's like a roller coaster. We really went up and down a lot of the times because it wasn't one full extension of school being closed. It was like, okay, you're going to be closed to here. Okay, now that's going to be extended. Now it's this. Now it's this, and now it's indefinite. We don't know. So that those levels of uncertainty, right? So you thought you were good, and then it was like, So it was continually refining what we had. And so we made some big changes. Like, so the first few weeks it was a struggle to get it on, and then we felt okay, and then the time got extended, and we were like, we need to put more in place because kids are going to be out longer. So what is it going to look like? And we really worked hard on refining things. And I think once every refinement was growing pains, but once we really found things were working, everyone was kind of in a groove.
Yeah, nice.
With the online learning, and the parents were getting into the groove as well. And then like, so everyone was kind of like, okay, I think we've got this.
And it sounds like your definition of community really changed, right? You almost had to really get together and really kind of I can imagine the communication skills really started to really improve because you had to talk to each other about this this
We
moment?
had to be, as a school, we've always been really flexible, but this really, really showed how flexible we can be and resilient. And that was really key to us. And we needed each other for support.
Yeah.
You know, this was not something any one person could do. So I feel like our teachers have always been very collaborative,
Mm-hmm.
but this was huge. And as a leadership team, I don't think we've ever collaborated as much.
Definitely. So I guess just to kind of close it off, you know, as you know, many parts of the world are going through what you have gone through. What suggestions do you have for those people who are literally in the midst of what you went through 9 weeks ago?
Apart from not panicking and hoarding toilet paper,
Yeah.
I would say it'll all come back. I will tell you, we are overflowing with toilet paper and hand sanitizer and cleaner goods here in Hong Kong. It comes back. But apart from that, I would say keeping things in perspective. That really helped me. So not getting sucked into the news cycle, because you know, it's negative. Most of it is focused now on that. And so I really needed to keep things in perspective for us. You know, things might look bad here, but you know, we still have jobs, and we still have these wonderful kids that need to be educated, and just thinking about things like that really helps. Yeah, don't be sucked into watching the news constantly. Take those moments for yourself, and it's okay to feel selfish about the fact that you're not going away for April, or you know, you're not getting that holiday and those flights got canceled, and it's okay to have those selfish moments. But I think what we really need now is we need to start thinking about gratitude and appreciation. And that's helping me, like, for really appreciate what I have, and then also appreciate the people that are keeping us safe and working so hard for us, like the cleaners in our building, like amazing, and the supermarket workers, and of course our healthcare professionals, everyone that's working so hard. I feel like it's really important to have those moments of gratitude, and I think that for me is helped mental well-being.
Definitely. So you're just cutting out there, so I could just.
I've lost you. I lost you.
There we go. There we're back.
Okay.
I guess my last question for you, if you can, because our viewers, that sounds so funny. Our viewers are not just teachers, but also parents. And, you know, having gone through this, what are some words of encouragement? Because like you said, some parents, particularly in bigger cities, have to work, are at home. They have that fear of the possible instability of losing their job, whatever, of just losing whatever. What words do you have for them?
Just focus on what you and your family needs, and it's okay if like in terms of education, if your child doesn't have all their work done and you get home from work and you feel like you have to take on the role of teacher, no, your mom, your dad. Okay, and it's okay to be to have all that stress of work and then feel like you have to come home and do more work with your child. It's more valuable to just talk with your child about the current situation, and as a family feel create that space of safety, because that's what's important right now. Teachers understand that everyone's in a different situation, and that not everything can get done at home, and just reaching out to teachers and telling them that, and they're there to support. A lot of teachers are going through the exact same thing with their own families. So yeah, and just be kind to yourself, right? Everyone's new to this. Like, even for teachers, like, it's like being a first year teacher when you start online. It's like, how do I do all this?
Yeah.
No one expects you to be, you know, on top of everything. It's okay to just come home and spend that family time.
Rose, thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know that unfortunately we're having this conversation because of this, right? Unfortunately, that this brings us together, but you know, your wisdom, I'm sure, will definitely help those literally in the same situation you went through a couple of weeks ago. So in that note, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm sure we'll see each other hopefully in a different perspective up front, and we'll actually be able to talk in person. All right.
I hope so.
Thanks again, Rose.
Thank you.